Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are watching from, whether it is morning in your village, evening in your city, or night in a room lit only by the soft glow of your screen, hear this message clearly. The world has shifted beneath our feet. The struggle that once looked like a distant echo has now transformed into a thunderstorm shaking entire continents. The war for African sovereignty is no longer a small battlefield. It is no longer a contest between weak nations and old colonial shadows. It has now become a clash between giants, global giants, standing firmly behind the Sahel. What began as a regional cry for dignity has now pulled in the strongest players of the new world. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, the three lions of the Sahel, have activated forces that the West never expected, never prepared for, and never believed would align. The alliance that once included only Russia and China has now expanded into something far more powerful, far more unpredictable, and far more devastating to Western dominance. A new third pillar has joined the front line: Turkey. With Russia behind the Sahel, with China powering their development, and now with Turkey entering the battlefield of influence and protection, a triple force alliance has formed that shakes every Western intelligence office to its core. In one single week, the strategic board of global politics has been rewritten, and every move made by the Sahel has pushed France and its allies closer to panic, closer to desperation, closer to collapse. For years, the West believed Africa would always kneel, always accept the crumbs thrown from their tables, always surrender resources in silence. But the silence has broken. The ground is shifting, and this week, the thunder came from Ankara. President Erdogan has executed a masterstroke, 3 consecutive blows of strategy, intelligence, and military precision. 3 moves that have stunned France, cornered Western diplomats, and electrified the Sahel with new confidence. The first strike came in Niger. Without warning, without delay, Turkey deployed 900 elite intelligence and special operations forces straight into Nigerian territory. This was not symbolic. This was not for show. This was combat-level training, battlefield preparation, real strategy. Niger sits on uranium fields that France has depended on for decades to keep its lights on, to power its reactors, to keep its economy alive. By sending 900 elite forces, Turkey was drawing a line so sharp and so bright that even Paris could see it from the other side of the Mediterranean. A line of fire, a line of steel. A line that said clearly, if anyone comes for Niger's uranium again, they will not find weak resistance. They will find trained guardians prepared to fight until victory. But the second strike did not come from Turkey. It came from the Far East, from a nation that has lived under sanctions, isolation, and international pressure for years. North Korea stepped onto the Sahel battlefield, offering Burkina Faso full military supply, every weapon they need, every support they request in exchange for agricultural land to grow food. A simple deal. A practical deal. A deal born from necessity and strategy. While the West blocks North Korea's ability to trade, Burkina Faso has opened a door that benefits both sides. In one single week, 2 global wildcards, Turkey and North Korea, aligned themselves with the Sahel. And yet, the biggest strike was still not delivered. The third and most powerful move came today. Turkey has turned its support fully toward Mali, the richest of all the Sahel nations. A deployment of 500 Turkish defense forces has now landed on Malian soil. They are not ordinary soldiers. They are elite military minds, advanced warfare strategists, specialists in modern electronic defense systems, drone commanders, and intelligence instructors. And their mission is clear: fortify Mali so completely that no foreign power can ever again infiltrate, intimidate, or destabilize its borders. These forces came with equipment, expertise, and authority. They came with technology that blinds foreign surveillance. They came with training programs that can turn the Malian army into a force so sharp, so precise, so ironclad that terror groups backed by foreign interests will crumble before they even assemble. They came with systems that jam drones, block signals, confuse satellites, and shut down the silent eyes that France has used for decades to monitor and manipulate the region. But the story does not end with defense. Because at the same time these forces arrived, something even greater began behind closed doors, negotiations that could reshape the global financial order, negotiations that could end the remaining backbone of French economic power, negotiations that could turn Mali into one of the richest nations not only in Africa, but in the entire modern world. Mali is sitting on gold, uranium, bauxite, and lithium. Not small amounts, not symbolic quantities, massive reserves. Reserves so large they can power industries, shape currencies, and influence global supply chains. For decades, the West has siphoned these resources using debt chains, puppet leaders, and military pressure. But the age of silent theft is finished. The world is no longer ruled by one side. Mali is no longer negotiating from weakness. And now, Turkey has offered Mali a golden deal. Turkey needs energy. Turkey needs raw materials. They need uranium for reactors, lithium for batteries, bauxite for industry. They need what Mali holds. And unlike the West, they come not with exploitation, but with exchange. They come offering weapons, infrastructure, defense systems, and unlimited military support. They come offering fair trade for real value. Mali gives raw materials. Turkey gives military firepower and development. Mali gives the fuel of the future. Turkey gives the tools to protect that future. This is the new model of global partnership that the West fears the most. Because the moment African nations begin trading their wealth fairly, the old colonial economies crumble instantly. France is trembling. Their energy system depends on uranium stolen through back channels. Their currency depends on African gold. Their political leverage depends on the instability they plant in the Sahel. And now every one of those pillars is collapsing. The French command headquarters knows exactly what this means. They know the Sahel Alliance is no longer a scattered group of uncertain nations. They are now a unified fortress. Russian artillery, Chinese economic power, Turkish military training, North Korean supply lines. The West is cornered, and in desperation, France has begun contemplating direct intervention, a military move into the Sahel, a last attempt to stop the rise of sovereign Africa. But they see what is waiting for them. They see the drones patrolling the skies. They see the anti-air systems. They see the electronic warfare shields blocking every signal. They see that the armies of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are now trained, assisted, and fortified by some of the strongest non-Western powers on Earth. If France enters Mali today, they walk into a battlefield designed to destroy them. The Malian forces are learning from Turkey how to track spies, how to pinpoint secret meetings, how to identify foreign-funded terror networks. They are learning how to protect every mine, every road, every border. They are learning how to wage modern war, not the outdated warfare France expects, but the new era of electronic combat, drone precision, and deep intelligence penetration. The Sahel is not just preparing for war. They are preparing to win. They are preparing to end centuries of exploitation. They are preparing to ignite a continental rise that no foreign power can stop. France knows this. Europe knows this. The West knows this. That is why threats are increasing. That is why political pressure is rising. That is why Western media is panicking. That is why intelligence offices in Paris are working through the night. Because if the Sahel succeeds, the entire structure of Western influence collapses. This is not just a regional conflict. This is the beginning of a new global order. If France invades Mali, the war will not stay inside Mali. Niger will mobilize instantly. Burkina Faso will mobilize. Supply routes from Russia, China, and Turkey will open without hesitation. The skies will fill with drones. The ground will shake with artillery. And France, expecting a quick operation, will instead find itself buried inside a regional firestorm that destroys the remains of its power. The West believed Africa would never unite. They believed the Sahel would always fight alone. They believed the era of colonial control would last forever. But that era is ending. The lions have awakened. The shepherd has arrived. The wolf is surrounded. The Sahel is now armed, sovereign, and prepared. This is no longer a fight for land. This is no longer a fight for resources. This is a fight for dignity. A fight for identity. A fight for the right to stand tall in a world designed to keep Africa on its knees. The battle has already begun. The alliances are already drawn. The strategies are already unfolding. And the Sahel is not afraid. Not anymore. Not ever again. The world is watching. The continents are listening. The storm is here. And Africa is rising through the heart of the Sahel. This is the new chapter. This is the new world. The lions stand ready. The trap is set. And the old order is finally collapsing.